Hi, everybody. Mandion Astral Oracles. How to rewire your life. Well, you can check in with Merlin this Sunday for the live stream if you're curious, but you can also listen to what Metatron has to say about it in a minute, because it's this question of how do you reshape your bodies, your configuration, in order to begin creating from a different place. And that's the idea. When these entities say that we create our own reality, they don't perceive necessarily that big of a difference between our energetic bodies and our mental and physical bodies, because they are all fully integrated into conscious awareness for them. And so to them it's pretty it's pretty easy, right? You just change your intention, and then your energy body changes, and then your reality changes. But to most human beings, the energy body is a deeply mysterious, often invisible, and even slightly unbelievable thing to many people. And so it almost comes as a wonder when you encounter people who can read our auras or tap into people's energy fields, or something, that this is something they can do. Whereas, of course, if you actually perceive this in the way that you perceive other layers of reality, that they're just there, it is like sensory input or sensory data that you're just receiving. So there's nothing really mysterious about it. But of course, it is embedded within then a wider mysterious network, the ecology of souls, all these things. And that's the deep, profound mystery of why is incarnation happening? Why are we going through this as spirits? Why are we having these experiences of incarnation, and how do they serve us? Because so often in incarnation, being separate and perceiving ourselves as separate, we tend to also perceive this state as fairly painful, discombobulated, confused, and annoyingly intangible in our attempts to grab a hold of what reality is and what life is about. So often we have this experience that reality seems to kind of just be tunneling towards us, right? Like there's this great mass of things happening that we are somehow the receivers of. And the great secret of magic, the purpose of magic, is kind of to turn the current on that one, and begin to realize that its reality is actually flowing through you and is creating itself through you, but is doing so out of these unconscious patterns that is the energy body. And so I can, for instance, tell in my own life that there's been a lot of things that come from almost like arcane issues, and dealing with some of the fundamentals of mundane life, and people having to go through it, making the best of it, and then dying on the other side without really having gotten none the wiser, right? So that side of it, and then contrast it with like this immense magical journey that I've been on for 10 years now, where some of these first alien contacts began to happen, and I began doing yoga, and that's been like a magical transformative journey for a decade now. So there is this weird contrast between massive changes in sense of my physical self, my mental self, my capabilities, and then of course the energy body that still holds a lot of this grief, and still feels perhaps most at home, most connected to a reality that's also a little Denmark in November, it's pretty dim and gray out there. I can uh, I can unveil. So there's that, and with that introduction, I would really find it incredibly interesting, helpful to get an angelic perspective on how is it that we align ourselves with higher vibration and accept this creation, and how do we um, recalibrate our energy bodies into a vibrancy that serves our intentions and purposes and being. So without further ado, let's check in with the Archangel of Creation, the Divine Architect, Metatron. Much love to you out there. Greetings, dear human beings. My deep, sincere, and unwavering love. I transmit a ray of light from the center of creation itself and into the center of you. Both these points are unbroken and stable. Between them lies a realm of change and creation. And you ask me this day how to access this realm, how to work it with a greater sense of purpose, indeed with a greater sense of joy. You are aware of this parable that has been written and passed down to you. This parable of the cave. And so the realms of creation, they are akin to that world outside of the prisoners in the cave. But you human beings, you rarely find yourself in this world, this swirl, this vertigo of creation, of reality. Rather, you sit around and study the fossilized remains that someone once, maybe in the dawn of time, maybe a few generations past, have brought into the cave for your amusement. You have forgotten how you reacted in fright, how you recoiled from the strange, shrieking novelty that was dumped there in the middle of your safe, little sterile world of dead shadows moving in predictable ways across surfaces that you could recognize. There in your midst was something wild, living, untold of, undescribed, snarling, full of will to live. And yet, still hungry to fill the void, still eager to wail away the hours. You forgot your immediate fear, and you began to warm to that life that had moved into your cave. Indeed, you warmed to it to a degree where you drained it of life and you made it lifeless and cold. You fitted it in to that environment of predictable, passing shadows, of predictable, passing hours, of predictable, passing peoples. You know this world of boredom, this world that is closed off to life force. And what so many of you have been engaged in this year of your time, 2023, it has been to explore these patterns to the point of absurdity and exhaustion. Many of you have glanced outside the cave. Many of you have maybe even gone for a stroll out there and returned with a whiff of fresh air about you. And you have tried to clear these stale vapors of the cave away and to share the news of these fresh winds that were blowing outside, only to find yourself growing despondent again, losing the faith in the fact that these winds were indeed blowing, that the change of pure creation was upon you. Now you must realize that there is something to discover here. There is something moving through you. Outside the cave, there is a great mountain full of other caverns. And outside this mountain, there is a mountain range leading to other landscapes and vistas. And above it, the endless sky. Below it, the earth that upholds all living things. This is the place you are entering into. You cannot pass into this place with these old energies without seeing these old energies evaporate, dissipate, disappear. But these energies, they do not take the shape of thought patterns. They do not take the shape of sentiments and memories. They often take the shape of actual people, of things in your life, of places that you live, of responsibilities that you have squeezed yourself into. Now you are finding that nature itself, the great wide beyond, it is calling for you to discover it. And there is only one way to go about it: to keep the pages of your unwritten book open, so that you can write down any new knowledge that comes across to you, and you can make sense of this. At this point in time, therefore, know that any wish that arises from your heart is already granted and fulfilled. You would do well in bringing this wish out, in studying it and observing it, in seeing what it is that you seek to experience, because it will come to be. Rest assured, it will come to be. The fear and fright belong only to the confrontation between these two systems, and you will begin to realize that the arrival of the new has already happened, that you are fully immersed in it. You will see this when you see that the old feelings of fear and limitation, the old worries, seem like they belong to dreams and recollections that are no longer a part of your life. Take this feeling and expand upon it. Know that within these empty spaces where negative emotion used to reside, joy is trying to seep in and take over. Faith and curiosity are making their way into the vacuum. You are a fulfillment of our intention. That is the angels' wish for your being to be. They wish for you to live, and they wish for this light within you to shine forward. I, the Archangel Metatron, I am with you all days. In this day, I take my leave. I bless you. With unconditional love, I bid you farewell. I hope that served you guys. Much love.